went out. Okay, I see it's recording now. Night
Yeah.
went out there and had to go through the Christiana Mall. Then we went to this little spot down in Maryland, like a little dive bar.
Oh
We used to
yeah.
get crabs from there. Yeah, no mask. No one in there wearing mask at all. Are y'all still wearing them or y'all done with them? Y'all still?
I still wearing mine. I don't give a
Did
shit
North
what they
Carolina
do.
ever start?
They
Yeah.
you see some people with them. Now you're starting to see more people with it. But
With
before,
masks?
when it was in the Trump era, it was all a big thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I mean, man, it's a shame that it got to that point, But they have something for them though, because I think what they're gonna start doing, they're gonna start saying that if you want to attend this movie theater or go to this venue or what have you, you're gonna have to have been vaccinated. So all those people, I mean, because of course
Right.
you can't force them, but all those people that don't want to take the vaccine, they it's gonna limit what they can do.
Right.
But
Well, actually, that's not the direction that they're going to go in, to
you
be
don't think?
honest. They're going to try and implement herd immunity so that people who choose not to take the vaccine are still, they are not impacted and they can go without their masks.
But when you say
That's
herd
actually
immunity, you just mean
herd
that they're
immunity.
gonna just
It's
try
going to
to
be,
so many people they're gonna try to vaccinate.
All
yeah,
right,
they're going to
everybody.
try
We
and
live. We live on Zoom.
Okay, good. What we're gonna finish your thought. Finish your thought, Tony.
so what they're going to do is try to implement enough immunity, and I think it's going to be like 90%. And at
Right,
that point, they'll say the population is pretty much safe.
right,
So
right.
if we decide to go maskless, then we can go without the mask.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I think that's not a bad idea, because
It's
some people just literally don't want to have a mask. I don't, but at this point, I've protected myself. And if you make the decision to not protect yourself, it is what it is.
right. We're gonna have to go back to that one because that I have some thoughts on that. We live night.
Yes, we are, brother.
What's up, man? What's going on? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Real Brothers of the Real World. We hope you're tuning in right now. I'm Stacy. That's TL Terry Little, and with us today, we're happy to say we have our first right night,
Yeah.
first female host.
First female
First
host.
first female
Yeah.
host is with us today. So we'd like to introduce you to you, Tony. So Tony, you'd like to say hello to the people and give them a little information about yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Antoinette Dupree. I attended Strawberry Mansion, so
There
I'm
you go.
actually legit here. I graduated from William Penn, so I'm a lady lioness.
There you
But
go.
just a little background with me. I work for the federal government. I am an attorney. My area of specialty is procurement law and procurement. I'm sorry, procurements. I'm here to discuss government procurements and how we as a community can get in on some of those government dollars that
Nice.
I see fall by the wayside. And
Wow.
I think that it's time for us to start picking them up.
Nice. So Tony, before we go any further, I had to wait to say this. Hey Nike, keep your
Yo.
hand on the mute button. She's our first lady host. Don't hey Tony, don't be trying to take over. 'Cause
Yeah.
You get what you get with me. You get what you
Hey,
get.
and we got to apologize early. Sometimes we get a little, a little politically
Listen.
incorrect. So
Listen, Stacy has known me all of my life.
That's right.
So Stacy knows you get what you get with
That's
me.
right.
I am a Dupree. So
That's
you
right.
already know my whole squad.
That's right. I know the whole team. That's right. You're right.
You
Well,
know
welcome,
the entire
Tony.
team.
Tony, thank you for joining us. Like you said, you grew up in the neighborhood with us. We're glad you're here, and we're looking forward to talking to you about getting some insight in as far as what you were talking about, these government contracts. So you want to jump right into that? What you think, Knight? You want to jump right into?
yeah, because I'm interested. That would be that information will be beneficial to me and a lot of other people. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I'm always looking for a way to get my foot in the door somewhere. So
Right.
Uh,
So okay. Well then, okay. Go ahead, Tony. You want to just start or?
Yes. Well, what I did want to share is the government buys everything. And it's not a magical secret. I think part of the problem is the resources, the information is not available. We as a community generally, just from what I've observed, we don't take advantage. But I'm not going to say we don't take advantage because we don't want to take advantage. As a general rule, we just don't know that it's out there. Wow. And if we don't know that it's out there, just like with everything else, it's not that we're lazy. We just don't get that. We don't get
that information. Right.
And often we're very reluctant and kind of mistrustful. We don't really trust the information that we get. But also I can say the government has several directions that we can go into. And if you all wouldn't mind, at the end of this podcast, or give me about 24 hours and I'll post some of the resources on the page. Nice. So that so that if people would like the information, and also if you want to inbox me as a small business, my conversation will be directed towards entrepreneurs or people who would like to get into who has a talent. What they don't understand is the government has a procurement for everything. The government buys wigs. The government buys wigs. The government buys wigs. The government buys photography service. And there are portals that people don't know about that they can actually go in to see if their service is something that the government requires.
Right. So there's a way you can go in and just put in, say, photography, or as you said, wigs, and then it'll show up, yes, we need them, and this is why we need them.
Yes, and it'll show you the direction. I'm also going to share some things with you to let you know that even if the government doesn't need it now, because you are a small minority business, you will have first crack at it when they do need it.
Wow. Damn. All right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of venues. I'll say this. I work for the Veterans Administration, the Department of Veterans Affairs, not administration. My apologies. Veterans have first preference,
of course,
over every contract with the Department of Veterans Affairs, because that is their goal.
Right.
So, veterans first. We care for the veterans, and we hire the veterans, and we also procure from the veterans.
Right.
So, but if you're a Black veteran, you're on top of everybody. Right. Not a Black veteran. I'm sorry, a minority veteran.
Right.
Okay.
If you're a minority veteran offering something in a hub zone, you're even more popular.
Hub zone would be low income area, like when they were doing those empowerment zones.
Yeah, the empowerment zones, and those usually align with what the city would consider an empowerment zone too. So you can actually find out there if your business is located in an empowerment zone, then you would be eligible for certain contracts. For preference in certain contracts.
Do they do like building, electricians, and like janitorial services, all that?
Janitorial service is definitely something that we utilize a lot. And I actually helped another brother get a janitorial contract with the government.
Wow, that's
amazing. Yeah. So on the hierarchy of things, the GSA is the department of the government, is the arm of the government that does 95% of the procurement for the government. I am in a special position because I work for the VA, and my area of specialty is real estate.
Okay.
I buy and build hospitals. That's what I personally do. So that's not something, it's a very specialized niche. So there's no one else in the government that can build a hospital. So that's why we have our own separate section. But as a general rule, when you want a government contract, you go through the GSA.
GSA. Okay. So Tony, let me ask you this then. Why in your experience then, why do you think minorities don't apply for these loans? These opportunities.
Loans.
Not loans.
They don't bid on these contracts.
Right, the contracts, right. Is it
because they don't? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
To answer that question, they don't know that they're out there. And also there's a general fear. The documentation looks very intimidating.
That's what I thought.
They don't have anyone to kind of guide them through this. But I'll say this, just like the SBA gives out loans, there are thousands of employees in the SBA that are there to do nothing but help you work through this process. Mm-hmm. So honestly, the SBA has a division in every state. In Philadelphia, you would just contact the SBA. I'm going to post the numbers, but there's a number for the SBA, and they will kind of walk you through it. I can give you some steps. You need to register a DUNS number. A DUNS number, you would go through Dun & Bradstreet website. Okay. I'm going to post that. Right. Okay. You probably have one, Stacey.
Yep, I remember doing that.
Yeah, you would go through the Dun & Bradstreet website. Once you have that number, then you can register on the system of awards management, which is the federal registration. Right. Anyone that wants to get a contract with the government, that's where they need to go in order to be registered. Once you're registered there, then you can start to look for those contracts.
See what's there, right?
So Tony, the thing. All right, so you remember we were talking about like having a program for people that are like pre-release in prisons, you know, like some sort of IT program so that they could get a good paying job, you know, once they get out, instead of like having to, you know, be caught in the same circle, having a low wage, low paying job, you know what I mean? So is there a way to go to this government process that you were just speaking of in order to get some kind of contract that will go along with that?
So there's another way that you would go to answer your question, unless they're looking for it, not specifically. However, you can send out a proposal, an unsolicited proposal to an organization like the Federal Department of Prisons. You can send them that. Now for you, I would think for your particular, for what your desire to do, I'll just say this, the federal prisoners, they don't need that. They have those resources already. Oh, okay. You probably would want to go state level.
State level? Oh, okay.
And only because the state level, in my opinion, the state level prisoners are the ones who need that. When they get you on federal, chances are you probably have a little bit of savvy and you know how to utilize.
Right. Yeah.
So, but not always, but what I believe is the federal prisons provide those resources already in-house. If they don't have them, they have a very robust program to assist federal prisoners in getting out and the, having that lack of recidivism so that they can. Of course
they do, because only really black folks is getting charged with petty crimes and going to state and county prison.
We out there share federal.
Yeah.
Now, how do they?
Remember, we got swept up in RICO, so.
Right. Oh yeah. Well,
right. Well, how does the government let people know about these programs? And I mean, I understand that the main reason why, a couple reasons, probably, I think it has a lot to do with also that you have to handle the paperwork. And like you said, those forms, I dealt with the SBA before, and that stuff is intimidating. It's a lot of information, and as we always say, you have to handle your business. You have to have your business license. You have to have insurance. You have to be bonded, and all of that stuff. So I'm sure that within itself probably knocks people out. But how does the government let people know? How do they advertise this? You know what I mean?
There's an entire website called the System of Acquisition Management. Wow. Okay. That particular website, all you need to do is go in and either you put the business, it's a NAICS code, North American Industry Code. You would establish yourself with the NAICS code. What I tell everyone is put your NAICS code as general as possible, because what you want to do is make sure that you can apply for anything that you think that you might be able to do in the future.
So in other words, don't make it so specific that
Specific,
say
right?
I'm only an electrician and then that's the only thing that I can do. So now, unless they're looking for the electrician, they might skip over you if they're looking for something that's sort of similar.
Hey, you
Yeah.
think the government need to give out a contract for a
Podcast.
you know what I mean? They might need one in the future.
Are they gonna fund Real Brothers? Is that what you asked
Yeah,
tonight?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What you think,
I mean,
Tony?
I mean, well, I think that you need to make sure that you have enough under your belt so that when you do send this contract, when you do send this request in, they're not looking at this electrician and saying, well, I really did ask for janitorial service.
Right. So in other words, if you're gonna do something like that, you have to be ready.
Yeah.
You
need to be ready. But the thing about this is, so here's the thing. We always say that we have to be ready. We do. What I did notice though, I've noticed a lot of others faking it until they make it.
Well, that's true. It's true. It's a fight.
So like I'm not gonna name names, but a very good I was actually able to get one of our friends a position with a contractor because that contract it was a federal contractor. That person was able to hire her on. After he got the contract. In other words, he didn't have the staff. But when I realized that he needed staff, I also had a friend that needed a job.
Right, nice.
So if you know people who are able to do this, you can actually say, hey, you can actually put forth a contract with a dollar value that you think. Now that's another thing that you have to take into consideration so that you're not underbidding. You have to pay people. Right. So you have to make sure that the contract that you bid is robust enough where you're going to get a return on your money, but you're also not going to go broke. You can't afford to go broke on your first contract.
That's right.
You might be able to take a hit 3-4 contracts down the line, but you need to make sure that you put that you bank that. Now that comes with forethought. That's another thing. Right. If you ask what I've seen as the biggest downfall, forethought.
Right.
I've also, and this is not just for us. One of the problems that I've seen with the procurement, I had a beautiful minority company come in, and I wanted them to get this award. Unfortunately, we have a date that award that proposal has to be in by.
Right, that's right.
This guy and I literally tried to hold his hand through this procurement. Unfortunately, he calls me and he had like 60 days to submit. Wow. He calls me on the 60th day and say, "Hey, I'm trying to upload my proposal." Wow. And I'm like, you see where I'm going with this state?
Yeah, like you had 60 days and now you wait until the last minute.
Don't get me wrong. This
they
was
do
not
it too. Right.
This was not an easy proposal. The reason why I was so disappointed is because this was a brother that I was trying to that was trying to get this contract in, and I'm like, I understand that you have some bid time. I need for you guys to call me and say this, you know, because if I get enough people calling and saying, hey, I'm running a little, this is not adequate time to get this in. Maybe and I want competition. Right. I'm going to spread it out a little more.
Right.
Because it's no good to me if I only get one proposal, time proposal, because I don't want to be at the mercy of that one proposal. That's right.
You know what though? One of the things I've found that, like everything, especially in business, it's a fight. You know, it's a fight. You have to fight it. They're gonna ask you for this. You have to send it back. They're gonna ask you for that. You have to stay on top of it. And unfortunately, that's why I think a lot of people remain under the table. And
you have to read. And you have to read the instructions.
It's a lot, right?
Sometimes it comes with sometimes I knock people. Well, when I was in Philadelphia, I don't do this particular position anymore. But I'm talking to you from when I was doing this.
Right.
When I was in Philadelphia, often I would get proposals that were they just didn't read.
Right.
And not only that, some of them were so cocky because they submitted proposals before on different projects. They didn't even change the name of the
cut
project.
And paste. Right.
Cut
right.
and paste. And I'm like, wrong one. You know.
Yeah, it's tough, but hopefully somebody's hearing this, and if nothing else, Tony, hopefully, like you said, you put some links up. If someone's hearing this, hopefully
I'm hearing it.
But if nothing else, like hopefully
I might try to get like an IT joint or something.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At least know that it exists, and if this sparks interest, it'll make you say.
But see, I don't know too, because I remember when I worked for I had worked for the VBA, and I had to fill out paperwork like this thick.
Yeah.
Just to work there, and I was a contractor there. You know what I'm saying? So it took like 6 months for my paperwork to come back.
It's a fight.
But when it came back, you know what I mean, it was a little something on it, and then you know what I mean, it was.
See, and unfortunately, a lot of time those companies, especially small companies or the larger companies, have lawyers and accountants, and they fill out half of the stuff before it goes to the owner of the company to fill out.
I guess what I'm asking is, like, for people that are on here that may have, like, you know, a past criminal background or something on their record from the past, would they still be eligible to get a government contract?
Depending on what it is, absolutely.
If it's white collar.
No. They would still be qualified. Remember, this is your business that you're opening. You have to be excluded from government business. You having a record doesn't preclude you from getting a government contract.
Nice.
You having, you know, I mean, I will say this.
I think that stops a lot of people too.
Sure, it does.
Yeah, it's so a lot.
It does.
Oftentimes we think we've done ourselves in,
right?
Because we made mistakes in the past. That is not necessarily the case.
Right.
Sometimes it's a matter, because if you're somebody who's selling widgets and you got this widget to sell, or if you have a contract, and even if you have, here's the thing, we get security clearances. But even if you have a record, your employees who don't have it can still enter certain facilities.
Right.
Okay,
or if it's not it depends on what it is. Most of the time, the crimes that we're looking at is theft.
Right.
And computer crimes.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I'm good then.
That's no different.
So those are the things that they're looking at. They're not looking at, you know, the fact that you sold drugs 20 years ago.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
That's
hey, ho.
Yeah.
We wasn't
No.
specifics. We was just saying for other people, you know, that might have issues.
This was not for anyone. This was not for anyone in general. But what I'm saying is a lot.
You done made it that.
I was about to say.
Hey, Tony, that's that guilty conscience.
I didn't say a word.
Hey, Tony, that's that guilty conscience. He like,
no, I'm just saying, you know, it's people that, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. That's exactly what he did. So again, Tony, thanks for the information. Tony said that she's going to put a couple links up there. So even if you have a question, ask the question. If you have a business and you want to even think about going for some of these government contracts, know that they're there. Ask the question. Don't stop before you even start. And like you said, it is intimidating. I can attest to that. But in the long run, it's worth it. Right. So
I also wanted to let you know some of these things there's portals where you don't even have to submit proposals. You just got to submit a bid. Right. As long as you if you're the lowest cost, because this is what we call low risk contracts. If you're the lowest cost, you don't even have all you have to do is get your information into the registry. Right. If you are the lowest cost, there is no whole bunch of arduous paperwork that you have to fill out. You submitted the lowest cost. Now it's up to you to provide the service or whatever the widget that they want you to provide.
But you have to have a company ID, right? Like
you have to do that before you can't even step through the door without that.
You have to be legitimate. Right. You can't be
so I can't just send them TL and then be like
no.
Hey,
I
can you see the other bids as you're bidding? Can you
I'm
see the
sorry?
other bids?
No, you don't see the other bid. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So Tony's gonna add a link on, and please, by
Give
all
me a
means,
couple
ask the
days
question.
because I have to travel. But I promise you, I'll put it up, and I'll also, if anyone wants to DM me, I'm more than willing to discuss it because I really would like to see us in
Right.
this business.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about.
There's a
That's
lot
that-
of money out there
that's
that
right.
we're just kind of sitting on.
That's right.
Y'all be easy on them DMs.
And listen, and it's our money, and we just giving it to other people. We say night.
I said, y'all be easy on them DMs.
I'm gonna need you to stay out my business, Terrence Little.
All right. So we gonna move on. We're gonna move on to this next one. All right.
All right, yeah. What's the next topic, Steve?
All right. We had a couple, and since
You staying
Tony,
with us, right, Tony?
I'm here. Yes.
Okay.
So since Tony's our guest, we'll allow you to choose, Tony. All right. So we have teachable moments. We have, has COVID changed you? Or what are you doing differently as a result of COVID that you might continue to do if you've changed? You know what I mean? So that's another one. And then what was it? Are we all the same? Okay. Yeah, that was the last.
I like to go with the are we all the same?
Okay.
Or meaning.
Are we all the same? Are all black people the same?
Yeah. Yes.
Is
Okay.
that what,
All right.
was that was specifically? I thought
Yeah.
when we discussed it,
Right.
I thought that saying are all black people the same was a better way to present this question.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna run with that.
So I don't think that all black people are the same. And let me just say this. I also don't think that there's one better way to be black. I tell people all the time, I have to, because of what I do, I have to straddle the fence. I walk in different worlds. I've walked in different worlds from one way or another. My previous life before I went to law school, I could not explain to the people whom I went to school with everything, all of the things that made me who I was.
What do you mean by that, Tony?
In other words, I grew up on 19th and Burns.
Absolutely, round the corner.
I was a person who, I came from a very we weren't a rich family at all. When I was 18, 19, and I wasn't. My boyfriends were the hustlers.
Yeah.
I was, I always, I was never wild.
Right.
I'm sure you can attest to that,
Right.
Stacey.
Yep.
I was never a wild
Yep.
girl.
No.
But I just, it was what I was around. I didn't devalue them. But I also was the nerd. I was also cool with the nerds. I loved, I've always loved reading. I probably haven't turned on the television in a week, but I've read about 5 ebooks.
Wow.
That's not, that's not unusual for us.
Right.
I think that people think that, but I also get the surprise of, oh, you're from North Philly? Oh, I went to Temple there.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a friend who in law school, she was like, oh, you're from North Philly? I went to Temple there. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And it's
right.
But if that's the case, then was she implying that we're from the same? Our backgrounds are the same. Is that what?
No.
No, you just get that. You just get that look, or you get that like because I know exactly what you're talking about because I go through the same thing.
When I went to Temple, they warned us, the students,
Wow.
about the neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The neighborhood that I love so dearly, that I grew up around, they were warning them about the people in my neighborhood. They
that part
dehumanized
is,
my neighborhood,
Yeah.
and they had people, you know. So when they were talking, when we were doing our round table, where are you from? I made sure that I told them I was from 5 blocks away.
That's right. That's right.
And you know what else too? They label you too. When they find out like where you're from, or like certain like your background or like that, you get this label of being what they call it, unapproachable, right? They call you unapproachable because there are people who, because they know where you come from, or they find out like, you know, a little bit of your background, they are scared. They call you unapproachable, but and in fact, they're the ones that are scared to, like, you know, come and have a conversation.
But you know what though? Now this is kind of bleeding into the next topic though, teachable moments. So Tony, you just what you did, or the way that you handled that, sounds like you said, you know, I hear, Professor, you're warning everyone about the area. It's a little whatever. It's not safe. I'm from 5 blocks away. So in other words, you're saying I'm from this area that you're deeming is dangerous, and warning people about going there. So you're saying that's me. That's my folk. So in other words, that again, you know, but that's a teachable moment. So,
we talking about like the differences between black people, like, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry, and I do want to get back to that because I kind of strayed.
Like, wait a minute.
What I wanted to say is, you know, when I went to a school, my law school was the HBCU law school. So when I went to UDC in University of District of Columbia, a lot of I met Black people who would never consider my circumstances.
Right.
I was a mother of 2, a wife, and I was commuting from Philadelphia to DC every day. So they had no idea they had no idea that, like, everybody.
Hey, props to you for that. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thank you. So they had no, like, I was a whole different animal. And then I was looking at them when they were talking about certain things, certain circumstances, even in the law, they didn't have the background and the life that I had to be able to interpret the reasoning behind the laws, why this was a flawed law.
Lack of understanding. Right.
Yeah. So, you know, I always say that, like, you know, you come in here, we come in from different backgrounds. So by the time you're done with me, like, one of my best friends from law school, she's this Jewish girl who mother and father sold timberland near house right next to them.
But I think that's when you said that you know, they were warning everybody about how things are danger and everything, or you said something about when you said you went to temple, the other lady said I went there too. That them trying to relate. I mean, I do the same thing. If when I'm in general conversation with someone, they say XYZ, and I say okay, just showing that I can relate to what you're saying. You know,
right,
you know what I mean? But I think that
I think we can relate more than they can. I think coming from where we come from, it gives us an advantage because we kind of see both.
I agree with
like both sides. Like we see, like most white suburban people and black suburban people.
That's all it is.
They hear about the hood. You know what I mean? They hear stories about the hood.
True.
Most of them never get a chance to go and hang out with people from the hood, or never get to experience. Like, I mean, because the thing is, the hood is not quite as bad as everybody portrays it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I mean, it can be a horrible place at times,
but not the way that it's.
But not the way that it's portrayed. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard, it's bad, it's rough. You know what I'm saying? But there are some genuinely, you know, nice people.
But what the way that I always explain it is that it's hard to when you say something about that, you might say the neighborhood, but the neighborhood is a combination of the people that live there. And you say it again, Tony.
Thank you. And that's what I try to say. Like, everybody in the neighborhood is not a killer.
Because we're from the hood.
Right. That's what I was
saying. Like, everybody is not unemployed in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Right.
Most of them are employed.
Like, most of them are really trying to do the best that they can.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody in my house worked.
That's right.
So it was one of those situations where, you know, it was just the circumstances. And also, sometimes, depending upon the type of housing, you can't even get out of it because the more money you make, more the housing goes up. So it's like this it's like a crazy. One of my girlfriends, while she was going to nursing school, by the time she graduated, she was living in Johnson Homes and she was paying like $1,300 a month.
In Johnson Homes? Wow.
Yo, that joint must have been nice. She must have had a double wide.
That joint hooked up.
She must have had a double wide.
The thing about it is,
because she was making the money.
She was making the money, so they were basing it off of her income, and she was like, "I gotta get the hell out of here." Like,
but you know what? But that makes sense. That makes sense because now what you're saying is that if this housing is for people that are
lower income,
have difficulty,
it's based on your income.
It's based on your income. So you can't.
So it's time for you to move anyway because you're doing all right.
That's
so
exactly
bring the next family in,
right?
Yeah.
She was, you know, and the thing about it is, she was like that last year. She was able to get a job. She was still in school. She was able to get a job, and that's when her income, you know, they hit her with that $1,300, and she's like, "All right,
it's time to go. It's time to go." Yeah.
Hey, Stace. Now you answer the same question.
What you mean, Nike?
What? How do you feel? Do you think that all black people are the same?
No, we're not, and I'm glad we went to Tony first, or one of you first, because to be frank with you, you know, I wasn't sure how to respond to that because it's a simple no. You know, we all, I think that we are our experiences. You know, you are what your experiences are. Some people, you might have more in common with the white dude that grew up in Fishtown than a black person that grew up in Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? So no, you know, we're not the same.
I gotta be the supervillain on this, Batman. Like,
okay.
So I think that question depends on who you ask, right?
What do you mean, Nike?
Because as a whole, black people are all the same.
What do you mean?
Because when we're out driving, or when we're out, you know, shopping, or when we out doing whatever we do.
You mean how we're treated?
Exactly. He's talking about how we're
right.
treated.
I'm not going to define how I'm treated as how I am.
No, but what I'm saying, listen, Tony, what I'm saying is, like, so in other people's eyes, like, we don't feel that way. Right. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm a unique person. You know what I mean? I don't think, you know, there's anybody like me, and that's just the way I feel about it.
Right.
But the thing about it is, but that's their business how they decide. No,
but what I'm saying, but you have to deal with society, right? When you're not in the confines of your own, like, comfortable environment, you have to deal with other people's perception of you. Or just like when I get in the car, wait.
I'm sorry.
All right, wait. When I get in the car and a cop is following me, I feel like I shouldn't feel nervous because I'm not doing anything, but I feel a certain type of way. Like, you know, is he gonna pull me over because I'm black? I haven't done anything, but that I've been pulled over many times just because, you know, and I'm like, I still don't know a few of them.
So we gonna define ourselves by how they treat us, though?
So what are you saying, Tony? What are you trying to get at, Tony?
That's a very small portion of me. How I interact with others who decide that I'm such and such. I'm not going to take that on. You're not going, like, how you decide that you want to treat me is how you decide that you want to treat me.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think that, but to say that we're all the same, that's giving them a whole lot of credit that I'm just really not ready to give.
In their eyes is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
I think what Terry is saying is from the way we are viewed, we're viewed as we're all the same.
Right.
Now, I wasn't answering
that question.
Have you ever, Tony? Have you ever been shopping? Have you ever been shopping and then it's a crowded store full of people, but they want to help you. They want to make sure you okay. You get what I'm saying? Like, may I help you? So, like, all these people in here, but you want to help me. You get what I'm saying?
It did not work out well for that salesperson who did that. So yeah. So my thing is some and even with that, our responses, which is what would make me different. It does not go well when, I have a special background that affords me the ability to kind of clap back. Some people don't. And when you're younger,
and that's my point. Yeah.
However, like I said, when we start the mindset, there's very few people who can actually in the stores or anything do anything to me. So even if you're following me and I turn around, I'm good.
And that's as you said, that's most of us though. That's 99%.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
We're this shopping. If you stop us, we have our receipts. Everything is paid for. But to Terry's point though, they view us the same. But I do agree with Tony though. When we view the way that we view ourselves, we can't allow someone on the outside pretty much dictate who we think we are. We can't allow them to make us think we're all the same.
Oh, for sure. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that
I know girls that do cosplay. We're not the same. Like, they do some wonderful things that I can't even imagine. I'm not going to give myself the credit to say I'm exactly the same as her when she's busting her ass and like, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, cosplay? What happened?
No, I'm saying I know.
I thought she said Cosmo. I
know young girls that are so imaginative. They do cosplay and they take it to this whole level. I'm not about to say we're the same because sis works in her lane and she's magnificent. Right. I'm not about to get up there and be like, oh girl, because I had on this storm outfit one day 4 years ago, we just the same. Nah, that girl put a whole lot of work and effort into her stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that again, you're more of your experience. Now this is interesting. I think that you are more of your experiences than you are of anything else.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
If you grow up on one side of the neighborhood or a different city or what have you, your experience and the way that you interact with the world is completely different than somebody that grew up in the hood.
And I'm absolutely not like anybody from Memphis.
Yeah, I can. Right? Yeah. I can imagine that. That's different.
But that leads into our other topic though of perception. You know what I mean?
Well, teachable moments.
Teachable moments. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. See, and that's a nice segue, because this came about. Terry and I were talking. Actually, I think Tony was involved with it also at one point.
You said you was arguing with the guy at the store when he was talking about the George Floyd incident.
Right.
And it made you mad because you said you wanted to have a conversation with him. And what I told you is, if a guy's that dumb to ask me why am I mad about George Floyd, I don't have no rap for that. Like, how do I respond to that? He don't get no conversation from me. He lucky he don't get punched in the face.
And my position is, I think that it's incumbent on us to do the same thing that Tony did when she was in school. When someone says something and our radar is pretty high. So when someone's talking off the out the side of their face, a lot of time we recognize it as soon as they start. So when someone does something like that, I think it is incumbent upon us to address it, to say something about it, or engage that person in conversation. You know what I mean?
But it depends on the situation, though, Stace. That's what I'm saying. Like, how can somebody come up to you and ask you why are you mad about the George Floyd incident? Like, how can you not be mad at that?
But
Like,
if they
I don't understand
know,
how can we have a conversation when you don't even understand why I'm mad in the first place.
But if they're asking you, then why not explain to them and give them the opportunity to learn? Maybe they really don't know.
I think, Stacey, in all fairness, I say this because I've just kind of worked around a lot of people that I used to, and unfortunately, when I was younger, I used to give people credit for being stupid. I stopped giving so many people credit for being stupid because there's some things like the George Floyd thing is a human issue.
Right.
It's not even there is no middle ground with it.
Right.
So
that's what I'm saying.
In that particular situation, you asking why a person would be mad about the George Floyd incident. I'm like, I'm not detached from humanity where I can say it is absolutely okay to step on a man's neck for 9 minutes.
Now, Tony, their experience, again, as we talked about before, their experience with law enforcement is completely different. Whoa, that's what I'm missing. That's why I'm stuttering.
Let's see. What was that?
I need something to drink. That's why I'm stuttering.
Well, wait, since we're getting it in, then let me.
I need something to drink. Oh, there you go with this crack. But anyway, listen.
There you go. There you go with that bullshit.
Yo, but their experience with law enforcement is completely different from ours. And one of the things I said is that to them, law enforcement does no wrong.
Law enforcement is protection.
Correct. And so therefore any gray that they can find, they're gonna ride with it. They're gonna run with it.
There's no gray in that though. There was no gray. There was no gray in that incident.
But again, I think that when they try to show you the gray, the only way that you show them that there is no gray is to strip away all of their arguments and explain to them why there is no gray.
So
go ahead, Tony.
So this is where I'm saying there's not, and I'm not coming from a legal perspective. I'm saying they sat on that man's neck for 9 minutes. Mm-hmm. There is no, I'm going to show you the point. All I'm going to say is if there was a counterfeit 20 and you call the police and the police officer decided to step on a man's neck for 9 minutes, you can't possibly say justice was served.
Now, right. But now look at it. Now I want y'all to do this though, and I'm gonna tell you the argument that they would have on the other side. You know what they would say? They would say that the video showed that he was struggling and he didn't just obey the orders of the police officer when they said sit down.
How could he? What was he doing?
Listen, but I'm talking about what led up to that point. Now, remember now, I'm not saying that that is right because I agree with you that, for the police officer to have his knee on his neck for 9 minutes is unexcusable. But what I'm saying is look at it from their perspective. From their perspective, the police.
There is no there. That's what I'm saying.
No, but you got to hear me out.
All right.
From their perspective, the police don't do wrong. There must have been a reason why he had his foot on his neck for 9 minutes. There must have been a reason because cops don't do that. That is the perspective that they're coming from. So I think that when you hear those things, you have to engage them and let them know that
you can't engage someone's humanity, right? Like if you can look at that whole video for 9 minutes, see that man on the ground with his hands behind his back, with a knee on his neck, he's no threat to anybody, right?
He stopped being a threat like
he was handcuffed
3 minutes in.
Right. But you know what?
So that's why, and Stacey, I get what you're saying. I unfortunately have I in my background and what I've learned in my human nature and in encountering certain people, I know that this is the argument that they try to push. Like they want you to explain and start thinking differently about a situation that is really not hard to think about, like
Right.
not hard to determine. The police came out. First of all, the detectives came out against him. So why do you want to make this argument when even the government said that this was against policy? You're asking why I'm mad. Okay, I'm not going to explain to you why as a Black person I'm mad about it, because you're not going to understand that. You're not.
Just as a human being, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
But specifically as a Black person, I can't explain that to you. I'm not.
But if we don't engage, if we don't take advantage of what we're talking about here, these teachable moments, and not even talking about just the George Floyd situation.
But Stace, how can you explain humanity to somebody? Like,
no, but see,
if you don't have that in you already, nothing that I can say is going to change that.
But let's put the George Floyd situation to the side, though.
All right.
Let's just talk about when someone comes to you with a question about your heritage or your race, or you hear something that's not quite right, and you know what they're going. Again,
right.
how do they learn?
Look at this, you know what I mean?
Right,
Why
exactly.
I can't say the N-word?
Right,
shit like that.
Right, exactly.
Maybe we can have a conversation about that. Maybe.
See, but
you know what I mean? It depends on the context.
Why you want to say the N-word?
Yeah, it depends on the context too.
I mean, but that's a legitimate question. If we walk, I mean, I hate to sound this way because I say it.
It's not a legitimate question. Why do you want to say the N-word?
Because y'all say it and it's cool.
Well, I can say it.
Okay,
I can say it. That's my word.
Look,
I reserve the right to say that word.
But listen, y'all can't tell me that y'all haven't seen some young white boys out there hanging out. Yo, what's up, nigga? And they sound just like we do. Y'all can't tell me that.
My cousins, they happen to like to date white women. A couple of my cousins are married to white women. We were at a cookout, and they were around there saying it. You know, blah, blah, blah. His wife made the mistake of saying it. I said, chick, you don't get to say it. You don't get to say that.
Everything's good. Now, did she call somebody a nigga, or did she just say the word? Did she call somebody a nigga, or she just said the word?
She was saying it in the context. She was saying it about somebody else that wasn't even there. But I was like, sis, you don't get to say that. That's not your word.
I've been around a couple of my white boy friends, and they like, man, that's my nigga. Ho, be like, ho. You know what I mean?
So part of the problem is because there's certain words like me and my girlfriends and I, we bitch this, bitch that, stop. I wish Terry or Stacy would try and walk up and be like, bitch, what's up? You don't get to say that.
Well,
you don't get to say that.
Wait, Tony, I don't got that privilege.
Tony, well, you not in Philly.
Get to say that.
Tony, you not in Philly, so you don't know where I live, so I.
But the thing about it is, men don't get to say that, and they know they don't get to say that.
Right,
and why don't y'all say that? Because y'all know that
That's
you don't.
Well, we do say it
to a black woman. Right.
We just don't say it around y'all.
Black woman, you don't get to say that in
you say that, Night?
Huh? Now, Stace, you know we've been together. You like, man, that bitch fine.
No,
you never said that to me.
That. And I'm surprised at you. I'm surprised. I'm disappointed at you. I've never said that. see, look. Now you see. Now you see.
You know you ever said that. Hey, you know the name of the show is Real Brothers, so keep it real, bro.
Coming out now.
I mean, you all can be real because, like, let's be clear. We know that white people will say the N-word when we're not around.
Right.
But you don't get to say that. Like I said, even with men, you guys don't get to say, like, you don't get to walk up and be like, bitch, what's going on? No, this me and my girlfriend's thing. You need to stay out. But the thing about it is, men don't even try to do that.
Yeah,
these black men.
They don't.
You know what though? See, but
that
bit, the word bitch though, is different in the black community for our sisters than it is for the white. Because my first time, my mouth dropped when I worked in an insurance company. You remember that years ago?
Yep.
They were throwing it around, calling each other, and my mouth dropped because I'm thinking like, wow. Because again, like you said,
they call themselves being not saying being black, but being acting like. You know what I'm saying? Like a sister.
See, I didn't take it that way. They, like Tony said though, they say that to each other. You know, bitch, and I was flabbergasted. I never expected to see that because again, I know that in our community, for you to call a black woman a B, that's
you
know,
mad at
those
you
are
mad
fighting
at her,
words.
or yeah, y'all going through something or something.
Yeah, those they fighting words, you know.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's that word to is like the N word to sisters. So you know it's a bad term.
Now see,
but they
I
don't
only
look at it
use
that way.
nigga as a term of affection. Like
said
I,
you-
I don't do like I don't use it like
this.
man that nigga right there.
I
You know,
also need to say this. I don't do it in mixed company.
What say nigga?
No, I don't. Because I don't even want to give you that opportunity.
Right. No,
With the B
I don't want you to
word-
hear me say it.
With the B word, when I say it to my girlfriends, I'm not saying it to the girl that I don't know.
Right.
I'm saying it to my besties
right,
or whatever.
your dog.
And
That's like
people
when I say nigga, I'm talking about
and
Stace.
people can-
You know what I
and
mean?
people
That's
can
my
say
nigga.
whatever
You know what I
they
mean?
want.
Right.
Yeah.
And people can say whatever they want. Generally, you won't hear me say it. Like most people, like when I said it to one of my other around one of my other girlfriends, she was like, "I didn't know you said that." I was like, "I don't say it to you."
Right.
I'm saying it to her.
Right.
And it wasn't
Yeah,
because
yeah.
It wasn't because I don't care for this girl. It was because
It's a
I
different
don't know
relationship.
how she received it. Me and this
Correct.
girl, the girl that I say
Right.
it to, we
Correct.
had that relationship.
You gotta know your audience. Yeah, that's
You gotta
right.
know your
Right,
audience.
we had that. You gotta have that relationship, and
That's
I'm
right.
not going to say it if I think it's offensive.
And I
to
don't
the
say
people.
it when I'm in the presence of other people that is not in my circle.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
sometimes you don't want to give them that. I'm not
Right.
gonna
Exactly.
I'm not
I
gonna
don't wanna
give you that.
I don't want to give this girl the impression that it's okay for
It's
her.
That's
cool,
okay.
to
right,
Yeah, no,
right,
no,
yeah.
yeah, no. I
Yeah.
agree with that. All right, so we got a couple more minutes. I want to throw this one out here. All right,
This went quicker than I thought, Stace.
yeah, well, yeah, we say an hour.
yeah,
doesn't-
we sometimes we be struggling to keep it under our. I mean, keep
Right.
it from going over.
depending on
You know
what
what I
it-
mean? Because
but good conversation does that.
Yeah.
You know, good adult conversation does that. Plus, you got the glass. What is that anyway? Is that wine or is that? What?
Saint Germain. I made a French martini.
Whoa! Then she
Whoa.
fancy. Then she got a pinky out.
ooh la la.
Like this, she got a pinky out.
Yeah, she got the pinky out and everything.
I couldn't even say
All
that.
right.
I
Yeah,
thought she said a French connection. No, I mean, I'm all out of the loop, man. You know? All right, so
Hey,
listen.
what's the last topic? Wasn't it something about COVID?
COVID, yes, and you know we're gonna. I want to go to Tony on this one first.
All
No,
right.
no. All right, yeah, we go to you, Tony. What has COVID? What have you started doing during COVID that you made a change that you have made that you see that's a good one that you're gonna continue to do? What's something that you started doing during COVID that you said, okay, you know what, this was good. I should have been doing this anyway. You're gonna continue. If there's anything.
Sleeping.
We,
Believe it or not, my sleep pattern, I'm dealing with a little bit of trauma. So my sleep pattern is terrible. I've been purposefully sleeping. Like when I'm able to do it, I do it.
yeah.
And it's helped a lot. I don't get to do it all the time, and I still wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, but I'm very intentional with trying to make sure that I sleep.
And by the
You
way,
know,
we sorry for your loss, Tony. Yeah,
Which one?
I mean, all of them. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Thanks. So, sleeping. Also, I remodeled my house. After I divorced, I divorced while I was in law school, and it was a struggle. It was a major financial struggle.
Wow.
I have always used the I can't afford it excuse. And I always managed to keep I live very beneath my means.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's
which
good.
is great.
A minimalist.
Right.
What did you say?
A minimalist.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, in that living below my means, I started believing that I couldn't afford things that I really needed to do for myself.
Right.
I get a housekeeper to come into my house. It just takes the stress off of me doing it. It's not, I don't consider it a luxury. It is a requirement. I travel a lot. When I come home, I have suitcases sitting in my damn in my sunroom.
Right.
I need to, and it was one of those things. I'll get to it, but I'm running crazy trying to do this stuff. So what I've decided to do is pay somebody bi-weekly to come in and do the things that wear me out, so that I get an opportunity to actually live my life.
That's working smarter. I mean,
and it really is working smarter, because I'm spending, if you really think about it, I'm spending an entire day doing this work where I could pay somebody $80, be productive, take a side contract job, get that done. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm actually making more money because I decided to give this girl $100 to come in and do my house.
So it's funny though, that that might be something we had to talk about too, because we do that a lot. We're so tight. Oh, you know what? The analogy that they use is that we hold on to the nickel so tight we're afraid to open our hand to pick up the dime.
Dollar,
or the dollar, right? Because we're just so afraid to spend, when really, after a while, especially as an entrepreneur, you realize the value of your time.
Yeah, you gotta spend money to make money.
You gotta spend it, right? So sometimes it's worth it.
The opportunity cost, like
it's the opportunity cost, right?
What about you, Stace? What has COVID, like? What's your experience? What have you done that it's during COVID that you wouldn't normally do, that you like? Oh, this is all right. Besides this podcast.
Well, you know what though? Now that's one. That's one. I think that COVID, this is a big one, and with actually both of y'all with losses. And we were just talking about this a minute ago. Last year, 2020 was so dark. You talking about death? We had problem on top of problem. We had death, we had Trump, and we had the killings. It was just a dark year. And what it really did was make you appreciate life itself. It made you appreciate life itself. And like, that's why I'm talking about now. I love riding my bike. I've always liked it, but I really appreciate it now. I really appreciate it now, because it's like we can get bogged down in chasing so much that we don't experience life. And life is to be experienced. Somebody said, we only care about two parts in life. We care about the A and the Z, but the most important life is the B to the Y.
Yeah, what's that letter? Yeah,
it's everything in the middle. So what did COVID do to me personally? It made me appreciate my family, my friends, and life in general. And I'm determined to keep pushing forward on those things, not just get back on the wheel, on the hamster wheel.
So for me, with the whole COVID thing, now I hate social media, right? But because of this, the show and everything like that, I had to get on here, and there's a couple good things that came out of it. You know what I mean? Even though I'm totally against like Facebook, all that bullshit. But anyway, but yeah, yesterday when I was out on my bike, I'm riding and it wasn't a lot of people out. I'm on my bike, I'm doing like 90, and I'm just like just
taking it in.
Yeah, it's just like I had nothing specific on my mind. And that's the first time, like you said, last year was
dark.
It was terrible.
Last year was dark,
what I mean?
Man.
But I guess we're starting to get out of a lot of stuff, but I picked up a couple hobbies, since COVID. Like I can make some crazy edibles now. You know what I mean? I couldn't do that before.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm into my gardening. You know what I'm saying? The bikes and shit.
And you need those things,
Right, yeah.
You need those things. They're not just good for you. You need them,
Yeah, but before it seems like I was too busy working, and my work schedule is still the same, but it's just, I guess I approach it different now.
Well,
I don't really give a shit about work right now.
COVID made us slow down. I think COVID slowed us down and made us kind of reevaluate everything. I think before that, a lot of time we were just basically existing. We were just running through life. We were
Right.
just moving, you know, and we didn't slow down. Whereas now, you know, we had to slow down because we were forced
Right.
to. So now I think, you know, I think some relationships failed because now,
Right.
You get to see that person.
right,
Yeah.
I had to spend all this time with
Yeah.
this person, you know, and some of them flourished, you know.
But sometimes, you know, it's a good thing because you get to expand your circle a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
Right.
you know, some that can be good. You
Yeah.
know, like me, I'm like a hermit. You know what I mean? It's only a few people, you know, outside of my, you know how I do states. I don't really fuck with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I like me and you talk now more than we did
Yeah.
in the last few years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like school. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You're
So
right.
I
You're
mean,
right. Tony going to
I'm
sleep. We
glad
losing.
that happened. Yeah.
She nodding off. Tony, you nodding off?
Wake
No,
up.
I'm fine.
You know, like she look like you nodding off. I'm about to say.
She like
No, I'm
these
fine.
boring
I'm
ass
fine.
niggas.
You better not call me no nigga.
Hey, I'm as engaged as I was when I started. I'm fine.
Nice. Okay. All right. So I think we covered everything, right? We covered everything, right?
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Okay. Okay. Well,
We appreciate everybody for you know, joining in, checking us out. Also, I just want to remind everybody, you know, we're still trying to do the Black Dollar Blackout on June the 11th, 2021. So, I mean, that shouldn't be a difficult thing, just not to spend, you know, spend any money on a
day.
specific date. You know what I mean? We're
Right.
not asking them to donate money. We're just asking
Right.
you not to spend money unless you're going to
Because
spend it at a black business.
our money is power.
Yeah, we're trying
our money
to
is
show
power.
that our money is power.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And that's the only
And
way
we can wield it.
that we going to be able to wield our power and you know, demand change, not request it, not march for it, not beg for it. You know what I mean?
Expect it.
Not protest for it.
Right.
We're going to demand it. So
Right.
you know,
Okay.
I hope everybody you know, decides that it is worth doing.
Okay. Tony, any passing any final thoughts that you have?
Just a final thought. If you have any concerns or questions about the topic that I discussed, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to post a link, but again, if you need to DM, if you have a specific question that you're not comfortable with asking online, there are no uncomfortable questions to me. You know, there's something for every industry out there. So even if you think that you have this niche thing, even if you think listen, all I am is good with Facebook, you know, I've seen content management position, I mean, you know, contracts out there. So it's you have a viable industry, I mean, business that we can support. And I'd be more than happy. I see too many dollars just sitting out there that I know that we would be able to get, especially when it comes to, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent.
No, go ahead.
Especially when it comes to those creative things.
I was going to say that. Yep.
We are so
That's us.
creative.
That is
we are
us.
so creative, and we are like, I don't know a more hilarious race than Black people. We will turn everything into a form of comedy, and it's beneficial. I say that with the purest sense of joy.
That's right.
And we can capitalize. I'm not going to say that we don't, but we can capitalize even greater on that.
Right.
So, and it might be available. There might be some opportunities. I have seen wedding cakes on the procurement list.
Wow.
You know, if you knew how to make a wedding cake, then they wanted you to submit a bid for that. So
any IT contracts on there?
That's like 60% of the contracts at this point.
Oh, we had to put something
I'm
together.
gonna charge you, Terry. I'm gonna charge you.
That's right.
I'm gonna need money.
Oh,
it's like this business.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
This business.
All right, hey, we got to make it do what it do.
All right. So just in passing, I want to say thanks everyone for joining us. We talk about it a lot, and I was really happy to hear what Tony brought to the table. This is a part of the infrastructure. You know, we want to when we know people that can offer some information, some advice, or what have you, and other people can use it or with themselves, or they know someone that can use it. We hope that we can give people the platform to let people know what's out there, because we miss out on a lot. Like Tony said, a lot of times information is out there, but you don't know what you don't know. You know, so hopefully you'll get something from it. We'll post it up there. Don't forget, you could check us out. We're gonna have it on YouTube. The link for the podcast, we're gonna have that out there, and you'll be able to check it out if maybe tomorrow. So thanks everybody for joining. Tony, thank you for everything.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Stace.
We had to get you back on. All right.